Hello, viewers. Welcome to Late Night Vibes with Ine and Cece. Our topic today is on domestic abuse, why women stay, and what we can do to help. As you all know, this is a powerful and sensitive topic. So as always, I ask that you keep your comments respectful. And there is a disclaimer. Please note that this video is not targeted at anyone in particular, but its purpose is to address real issues happening in the real world. We have seen and heard about a painful pattern play out again and again. Women suffering in silence and in some cases losing their lives. We heard about our beloved gospel singer who died under troubling circumstances linked to alleged domestic abuse. Recently, there was a sudden death under suspicious circumstances. And again, investigations are ongoing. While we don't have all the facts yet, it has always raised serious concerns about what happens behind closed doors. And also, a disturbing video went viral recently as well, showing a man physically assaulting his wife and aggressively tossing their baby onto a sofa. We're about to show a portion of that video. Viewers' discretion is strongly advised, especially for those who may find scenes of violence distressing. That was a very difficult video to watch. I must confess, I must say. But this is the reality for too many women and children out there. Every single day, often hidden behind closed doors. It's not just about what we saw. It's about the countless cases we have never get to hear about or we have never get to see. And that's why conversations like this is so important. We're joined today by a powerful panel of guests. And we're diving into what abuse really looks like, why some women stay, and how culture and faith play a role. And most importantly, how we can help. I'm joined today by my wonderful co-host, Cece. Cece has been instrumental in bringing this conversation to life. And Cece, how are you feeling about today's discussion?
I think it's needed. It's a discussion that we should be talking about because it's happening so many times and nothing's been done about it. So it's a sensitive and important message we have to send out to everyone. Broadcast everywhere, yeah.
Thank you, Cece. And our first guest for today is Reverend Dr. Priscilla Richards Osinachi of the End Time Overcomers Ministry and the Prayer Connect Intercessory Ministry. Reverend Priscilla is a community leader. I've known her for a long time, who's been supporting women in faith and advocacy for many years. Reverend Doctor, thank you so much for being here.
God bless you. My privilege.
Amen. Thank you so much. And next we have a dedicated employment coach, Coach Kita. Did I pronounce that correctly? You're muted.
Yes.
Good. Coach Kita. Coach Kita is an author, an event strategist, and an advocate for women's rights. Above all, she's a woman on a mission to empower, equip, and elevate women. Nikita, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Our third guest is Sobere. Sobere is a husband. He's more like a brother to me as well. He's a husband and a father who speak out about the role men can play in ending domestic violence. Sobere, good to have you here.
Thank you very much, my sister Ine. Good to have you here, and hello to the panelists.
Thank you so much. So finally, we have Dr. Ijoma. Dr. Ijoma, do you want to introduce yourself, please?
All right. My full name is Dr. Ijoma Madonna Onsoro. I am a lecturer, senior lecturer in Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Anambra State, in the Department of Technology and Vocational Education. I'm a senior lecturer. So I'm happy to be here to share knowledge. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ijoma. So now let's, I want to thank you all for joining us online today, and to our wonderful viewers, thank you for always returning. Thank you so much. So today's topic is not just about we're not here to talk about what's happened. It's a topic that is an issue that is always happening, and it's about understanding why it keeps happening, and most importantly, how we can stop domestic abuse from happening. So with that said, let's dive into today's conversation. Just a quick note on timing, like I've said previously behind camera, we've got a lot to cover, and there are 6 voices to hear, so I'll ask everyone to please keep their answers to about 2 minutes where possible. Reverend Dr. Priscilla, let's start with you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. So, thank you. So my first question to you, Reverend Dr. Priscilla, is: many believe women stay in marriages because of their religious convictions. How do we reconcile faith with self-preservation?
Thank you, my dear. I don't really believe that majority of women. I want to quickly say this. When you talk about abuse in marriage, it is not just on the part of the females, the women. Men go through abuse as well. As we have them in our community in general, we have them in churches. Now, coming down to the church, I want to let you know that from my own perspective and my belief and my understanding, and with what I've seen and the cases I've attended to, majority of women or men do not stay in abuse or abusive relationship because of their religious conviction. No. Majority stay because of the stigma it brings, especially as Christians. They do not want that word, divorce, okay, to be known with them. They are not staying because of their religious conviction. Majority stay because of the stigma. Oh, I do not want people to know that my marriage doesn't work. What will my family say? What will the church members say?
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's quite understood. Thank you. And to my next question would be: what message should pastors be preaching from the pulpit regarding abuse?
Here, I'm not really going to speak for the church or against the church regarding their message on the pulpit. Okay? Number one, here, the Bible is our standard when it comes to the issue of marriage. Okay? God ordained that institution. And God is never for divorce. And that same God that we call is not in support of you dying in that marriage. The message that should be preached on the pulpit is this. If I am asked to speak on that issue, I will advise, if a woman is going through abuse or a man is going through abuse, when we talk of abuse now, we are not talking only of verbal one. Some are physical. We've seen so many things happening, not only within our community, even in the church. The message should be if a marriage has gone sour, even though the church does not encourage divorce, the two involved in this marriage should separate for some time.
Fantastic.
Let them separate and find their feet. If they separate and they are able to sort out their issues amicably, and they are still in love, and the man has repented and the woman has repented, repentance in the sense that if you are the abusive one in that relationship, can you stop? If you are the one that is hating in that relationship, can you stop? If you are the one that is bitter in that relationship, that you cannot forgive your wife or you cannot forgive your husband, can you stop? Let them go their separate way first. Let them find their feet. Let them see, oh, if this can work, if it can work and they can sort things out amicably and they can go into that marriage again smoothly without any abuse again, then that is fine. But if they find out that, or after the separation, the two, none is repentant, yeah, let everybody just go. Why? The reason is this: the church does not support somebody being in a relationship or a marriage and dying in it because of abuse. Because the same pastor or maybe a Christian sister, a Christian brother who will tell you, don't separate. What will people say? That person would come back to tell you in your grave, why didn't you go? Because you didn't act, you didn't use wisdom.
Reverend, let me come in there now. Let me come in there, because I think you're going into the third question that I want to ask. But
sorry about that.
So that's fine. But on that second question about what pastor should be preaching, if pastor should be preaching about domestic abuse from the pulpit, should it be a regular thing that they should be preaching so that people can hear, the abusers, whether man or female, male or female, can hear?
Yeah.
Should they be preaching that regularly? Or shouldn't they be preaching that regularly?
It's a pity that these days we hardly hear things like this being preached at the altar. It is a pity. So many churches have, abandoned this area. We hardly hear this on the pulpit, which is not right. It is something that is eating deep into our society, into our families, into our lives, that we need to talk about regularly.
That's it.
We need to talk about it regularly. We sound it all the time. Why? Because for those who are there in their married already, for those who are about to get married, for the children we are raising up, so that they will hear and learn.
Okay, that's spot on, Reverend. And that will drive me to the third question, which you kind of touched upon, but I'm going to ask it,
Okay.
It's still about churches. So do churches unintentionally contribute to this culture of endurance over escape? Because I knew you were getting there, so I had to stop you so that I can ask the question. So do churches unintentionally contribute to this culture of endurance over escape?
I wouldn't say the church unintentionally or intentionally contributes. For example, the Bible is saying if two cannot be together, they should, separate.
Okay.
And if they would divorce at all, they should stay unmarried. If you know you cannot stay unmarried, the Bible is saying it's better for you to marry than to born. Not to born in hell, it's better for you to marry than to, keep being in, or maybe falling into immorality. But for the church, there is something about the church with this issue. I am here to tell you the truth. I'm not here to, massage the matter. Okay? Sometimes the church hitting the nail on the head directly Some may be thinking, oh, if I say the truth, how will my members take it? Will they stay or will they quit coming to church? What they don't know is that it is not about the number of people in the church. Number one, the church is there to save souls, either in the physical or spiritual. They're afraid to say the truth because they don't want to lose members. They are afraid to say the truth because they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. They are there to, some of them don't say the truth because they don't want to be, to judge. They will say, I am not there to judge. I can't judge you. Let God judge. No. Say the truth the way it should be.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go on. Have you got a final take on that? Because of time, I want to move on to the next guest. And then I've got 2 more questions for you. If time permits, I can ask you that. Or if you want to.
Okay. All right.
All right. Okay. So, and then the next question will be to, thank you so much once again, Reverend Dr. Priscilla. Okay. Questions for Sobere. And Sobere, this is for you.
Yes, please.
Thank you. So, I mean, as a man, what's your take on the culture of silence around abuse, especially among men?
So, honestly, the culture of silence is still very real. I must be very honest to you, especially with the men. I've been married for 10 years, 10 years, and a lot of men like us are raised to actually believe that admitting pain, especially emotional and psychological pain, is a sign of weakness. Like, if we do accept it, it's a sign of weakness. So when abuse happens, either from our partners, whether it's physical abuse, emotional abuse, or any kind of abuse, many of us that are men either minimize it or stay silent because of shame, fear of being mocked, or the pressure to be tough, be a man, come on, those kind of stuff. So it's damaging. It's damaging because it allows, when you allow silence to continue, all right, abuse will continue. When you don't speak out, it will continue. So both for the men and for the society at large, the community, because don't forget that when our kids see that men are being abused, it will reflect on the children, especially the male children. When there is violence in a family, either from the male to the female or otherwise, that male kid that is growing up will tend to also abuse his own partner when they grow up. So that's why a man should never stay in an abuse. My principle is, when it happens once or maximally the second time, just separate.
Thank you. I'll stop you there. Thank you so much.
That's my opinion.
That's a very good one. Thank you. And then still to use Sobere, you might want to stay unmuted. So do you think enough men speak out against domestic abuse, or is it still seen as a woman's issue? I know you did touch a bit on that when you were talking before.
Well, yes, definitely. Okay. We often do see abuse as a women kind of thing. Domestic abuse is for women. Okay. And that's a big problem. All right. So I do think that men need to realize that domestic violence affects everyone, families, children, communities at large. All right. Now, while some men like me do speak up, and let me make this abundantly clear, I've never been abused in my over 10 years of marriage. No sort of abuse. Okay. So it is yet to be normalized that men would speak up. Speaking against it as abuse, as it were, it's not just about projecting women. It's about standing for justice, dignity, and protecting the community. And that's what really means to be a man, that you're able to speak up. So it has become a part of our collective identity, not a special cause that we occasionally support. Finally, I would say that men should speak out more and not label it as a women thing. We are equal as humans. We all have blood. A man can be slapped, a woman can be slapped. So it's not a women thing.
Thank you. So, and then that will bring me to the final question. Again, because of time, I'm going to leave the last question for next time. But still on that note, what kind of conversation should men be having, amongst themselves, with friends and their sons? What sort of conversation should they have around domestic abuse and all of that amongst themselves?
Well, it's multidimensional, to be very honest. Okay, as men, when we gather to drink, to watch Arsenal beat Chelsea, Barcelona, and all of that, we should say, look, am I as a man truly living out respect and love in my relationship, in my marriage, in my dating? Where have I been silent when I should have spoken up? Your wife smokes at you, or your girlfriend brings out a knife and you wave it off. Your wife tries to punch you and you wave it off. All right, that's the kind of conversation men should have with themselves. Now, with their friends, as men that we are, we should actually start to challenge toxic behaviors when we see them, either in our relationship or in the relationship of our friends and their partners. Okay, we shouldn't laugh it all out. So, boy, you're just being a Jew man, you're just being a chicken, your wife, they do you this, they cry, and you refuse to speak out. So with friends, that's the kind of conversation we need to have. Now, with sons, we need to teach our sons about emotional literacy, how to name our feelings as men. When I have a son, which I would have someday, because I only have girls, I would teach my boys how to understand different forms of emotions and how abuse actually does happen. In order to keep this short, in the 3 layers, with ourselves, with our friends, and with our boys, male sons, we need to teach them how to express vulnerability without shame, without fear, and understand our real strength includes empathy, kindness, and standing up for what is right and not to be ashamed.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much. So I'll move on next to Dr. Ijeoma. Dr. Ijeoma, are you there?
I'm with you.
Thank you, Dr. Ijeoma. I know you're having a bit of technical glitch, so thank you for joining. I've just rang you. And then I've got 3 questions for you to answer, Dr. Ijeoma. So when you hear the news about domestic abuse, whether towards a man or towards a woman, what would be your first reaction?
Thank you for the question. Whenever I hear this, usually I feel so bad. My feeling is driven by the fact that this did not start in a day. Whatever that causes domestic abuse has been happening. It's something that started gradually before it gets to the level of that domestic abuse. And if it was handled correctly, it wouldn't have led to that extent. So I really feel so bad that what people are supposed to do, they don't do it. You see, something happened, you have problem with your husband or wherever your partner, you have issues that was not addressed. You kept quiet. You did not do anything. You just stayed there. Say you are enduring. No, it's not accepted. I don't accept that. Because if the person has spoken out at the correct time, it wouldn't have led to that abuse. So whenever I hear of domestic abuse, I feel so bad. Meaning that these people should have stopped this from getting to this extent. Why would they allow it to get to this extent? Now someone has been victimized.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. So that will bring me to the next question. And to our viewers, thank you once again for staying by and then watching. This is quite educational. And Dr. Ijoma again. So you went around there. So I did ask Reverend Doctor, and I'll ask you too. So why do you think so many women stay in abusive relationships for a long time? And again, to our viewers, I would say we also have a section coming for men as well. So it's not like we're just facing women alone. Of course, we know the percentage is high, in that regard. So we also have for men coming. But why do you think many women stay in abusive relationships?
I think, to me, I feel, one, is this stigma of being named in divorcee. That is one. Two is sometimes family background plays a role in that. Such that maybe your father has a kind of title in the church. You wouldn't want to hear that the child came back from the marriage or something of that nature, and you are trying to avoid, spelling their father's name or the family name. Now you have to endure so that your family don't have issues with maybe the church and or that kind of thing. That is another one. Another one, some people will feel, I love this man so much, and I will die if I leave him, this, that, which is rubbish. So all this would be the cause of all this. But majorly, the stigma of too many people don't want to be named as divorcee. That's the major one. And then family issues, family background. Because my father is a knight, my father is this. I don't want him to have issues in the church. You remain there.
So if I come in there now, if we're looking at the context, you said that. In what context are you saying this one? In terms of the family background and the stigma. In what context? Can you just briefly tell us, please?
Okay, there's one I witnessed. This one I witnessed is that there's a relation directly related to me, my auntie. I'm happy to use her as an example. Yes, this because the father is a knight in the church. He's a Nigerian. And I'm precisely. The father is a knight in the church, and with all the policies, so this one she has been having issues with the husband right from the time 3 years of the marriage, and they kept settling it. Every time there is always issues, but because the father doesn't want anything to happen with his title, the father will keep asking, the woman will come back, the father will push her back. Then I go and continue, don't worry, with time everything will settle. Eventually, one of them has to die in that issue, in that marriage.
Oh my God. That's really sad. Okay, because of time, I'm going to stop you, Dr. Ijoma. I've got one more question for you. Thank you so much. And the last question for you is, I want to ask you, do you think society is doing enough to support women in this situation?
This is a relative question anyway, because if you come to the United Kingdom precisely, you can see that we're making a lot of efforts. But moving back to Nigeria, much is not being done. That is the truth. Then another area I would want to come in, church aspect. During the marriage, during the wedding time, there's this thing they call sponsorship. This person is a sponsor in wedding. I feel there's a missing link in that. People don't understand the meaning of sponsor in wedding. Sponsor is someone, because it's seen that marriage is an institution which has a lot for people to understand, for them to be very comfortable in that marriage. And when that sponsorship comes in, is to bring up people that are really experienced in marriage, that will guide you through, because it's known that there is a lot of issues in marriage. There might be difficulties which you might not be able to handle by yourself, which you may need a matured mind to help you out. But people don't really use this. They don't really use those sponsors to settle some issues, because you see some people, they say, I don't want anything between my husband, my wife, between us two. I don't want to bring a third party into my marriage. Because you have said that you don't want to bring a third party into your marriage, things will be going wrong. Something that if it was addressed by a more experienced person at the initial time, it wouldn't have gone ahead to a more difficult time.
So So
because of that policy, I don't want to bring that person, things will be going wrong, and everybody will keep quiet.
So doctor, I may have to come in here. So what I'm getting from what you're saying is that silence shouldn't be a way out. Silence, people should not remain silent. At least speak to your sponsor, speak to someone. Thank you so much on that note. Really appreciate your perspective on that. And I'll move on now to Nikita. Nikita, thank you again for joining us, Nikita. What are some common warning signs of abuse that we often miss?
Yeah, thank you for having me. A lot of the time, some of the telltale signs can be muted. So where a man or a woman is having self-esteem issues, where they have this thing of always blaming themselves, even when they're not wrong. Oh, it's me, it's my fault. Everything, they take the blame. That is one of the telltale signs that somebody's probably, abusing them or manipulating them, because in their mind now they think, I deserve what I'm getting. If I was better, I wouldn't be treated that way. And of course, physical signs on their body, you can see broken bones, you can see scratches, you can see, literally, especially in funny corners that they can't explain, or if you visit them, physical damage to their property, showing signs of struggle. So these are the signs that one needs to look out for.
And even in some cases, we've seen where the woman would have red eyes, and then they tell you that they hit their face on something and all of that. So exactly. And then that brings me to the second question. So why do you think many women feel they have no safe way out of the no safe way out?
Now, this is a great question. I mean, some of the other speakers have touched on it a bit. The institution of marriage and how people feel is so sacred that you can't break out. There's also the fact that because everybody's thinking like that, who are you going to go and tell, actually, I want to escape? People feel that they don't have any allies. They can't talk to anybody. They have to kind of bear it. They have to be brave, And then also sometimes if they break out, the partner, abusive partner might, become even more enraged, track them down, kill their children, something like that. So there's those thoughts, leaving, staying. Could it be worse? Could the behavior escalate? So there's those concerns.
Okay. Yeah, that's quite sad. So what structures should be put in place? Both in the legal, of course, I know you've got a legal background, and in communities to protect victims.
So depending on the country, they have anonymous voice telephone lines that you can call and complain. The police are always encouraging, different codes or different sign language if you're in the public with your abuser, to call for help. But aside from that, I think they could also have specialized courts that deal with this particular type of crime, because there's enough domestic abuse to fill cases day in, day out. So it normally goes to the family courts, but the actual courts just for domestic abuse, would actually, because the precedents and everything, it will be managed better, in those courts. So definitely.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I hope authorities will hear. So there should be a designated court for domestic abuse cases, right?
Yes,
that's a good one. And then what can friends or families do when they suspect abuse but don't have proof?
So with domestic abuse, because even sometimes people are being abused, they don't know that they're being abused. So it's when you talk about proof from behavior, this is one of those areas that you don't have to have proof. Just the fact that you suspect, you have a hunch, is enough to explore and look at it. You can, if I'm a friend or a family, I can approach it in a fun way and have a chat with the person, or send some police or some people around their houses just to check. They can come for a spot check and just to check what's happening, without them knowing. So there are subtle ways that you can create that avenue to draw the person out to be able to come and talk to other people and tell them, look, this is what is happening to me. And if you suspect strongly, you can report it as well. The police or the agencies that deals with these issues know how they can subtly go into that household and see what they can do. But definitely, if you suspect, definitely don't just ignore it, because it's better you report and there's nothing than you say nothing and then there's a death.
Thank you, Nikita, and thank you to everyone. It's always good to hear all your thoughts and your perspective. I'll come back to you again quickly, Reverend Dr. Priscilla, on one very important question, which I'm really itching to ask you. It's as parents, how should we raise our kids so they know that abuse of any sort is unacceptable?
Thank you so much. This area is very, very sensitive. It is very sensitive because you use the word kids and not adults here. As parents who are married and you have your children, your kids under your roof, the first thing you do is live by example. These children are watching you. You as a mother, how do you treat their father in their presence? And you as a father, how do you treat their mother in their presence? The way you treat them, the way you treat your spouse in the presence of the kids, that is the way they will grow. Proverbs chapter 22 verse 6 says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he grows up, he will not depart from it. And I'll quickly say, today what we are seeing started from home. The issue we are hearing today about marriages breaking up and the abuses and everything, we cannot rush to blame it on the church. We cannot rush to blame it on the society. I'll be quick. Blaming it on the church or blaming it on the society is like when a child is not trained from home. Then you are expecting the school, the kid attends to do better. The first thing is, what did the child learn from home? You as a parent that is raising that child, how did you raise that child? If you raise the child well from the scratch, the church will have little to do. Okay? Raise them with the word of God. Starting from their friends. Do not insult your friend. Don't hit your friend. Don't talk back at mommy. Don't talk back at daddy. But let it start from you. You as a mother, do you talk back at your husband? Do you slap your husband in the presence of your child? You as the husband, you hit your wife. Abuse is not only physical. I've seen a man in the presence of the children call the woman, you are a dummy. That is to the wife in the presence of the child. Now, a boy child who witnesses or witness the father call the mother a dummy, what will he grow up to do to the wife he finally gets married to? So that foundation, let it start from home. Before we start talking about the church, if you are a Christian, let your Bible start from your own home. Your church start from your home before the four walls of the church we are hearing out there.
Amazing. I wish we have enough time, Reverend, to take this amazing point. Charity, they say, begins at home. You see your sibling hit another sibling. Did we as parents stop the sibling from hitting? whether a boy hitting a girl child or a girl child hitting a girl child, did you stop them? That is where it starts. And then it moves, like you said, Reverend, charity begins from home. It moves from the home and then it goes outside to the society and then it goes to another, and then to the school and then to society, and then it brings us to where we are. So we are trying to address a serious issue, very serious and sensitive issues here. And I hope our viewers, you all are learning. And if you have any comment, please keep it, drop it in the section. If you have any contribution in the comment section, and I'll now move over to my co-host Sisi. Sisi, I haven't heard all the perspectives of our guest. What resonates with you the most right now?
Well, I would say what everyone has said is true, and if, for us, I think everyone should be involved. I think it takes everyone. So, and also like people, children that come from care, people that come from broken homes, and there's some people that don't know nothing about family. So it's very vast. So I think it's a contribution of family, church, where you could get the help, counseling. So it takes a lot. Also from the parents, and yeah. So it's a lot. It's a very big, wide thing for everyone to help, even in schools too.
Yeah. So I mean, because of time, thank you. How do we make sure, Sisi, that this conversation doesn't end here?
So obviously, it starts from talking. Obviously, your family, friends. Just talking. Talking is the best way, and it's communication. As soon as you start talking, then you see that everyone like hears the same things, noticing the same thing. So it just takes a conversation to open up.
And thank you. And what we can make from the conversation is, on the pulpit, this should be preached. Charity begins at home. Teach your children the right thing, and all of that. We've taken all those. So, I mean, to our viewers watching, these are questions for you. And if you also have your contributions, kindly drop it in the comments. Do you know someone who stayed too long in toxic relationships? If you were in their shoes, what would you have done? We need to know. What would make it safer for women to leave toxic relationship? What would make it safer for women? Please leave your answers in the comment section. And this is my take to women my take to women, advice to women entering marriages. And if anyone wants to contribute to, please feel free. Love isn't supposed to hurt. As you prepare for marriage, don't just pray for good partner. Prepare to be a whole empowered woman. Learn the signs of emotional manipulation, not just learning how to cook. Learn the signs of emotional manipulation. Ask the tough questions, very tough questions, not just the romantic ones. Remember, peace at home is just as holy as prayer in the church. And my final takeaway message to women going through abuse: you don't have to stay to prove your strength. You heard all our amazing guests said it, Dr. Ijoma, Reverend Priscilla, Nikita, Sobere, Sisi. You don't have to stay to prove your strength. You don't have to die to keep your vows. Abuse is not love. Abuse will only destroy you. There is help. There is hope. And yes, you can live and still be whole. Living is not failure. Living is survival. The first step is telling someone you trust. Dr. Joma touched on it. You have the sponsor, someone you trust. And then the next step is reaching out to organizations built to help women like you. So if you're watching this and you're in a relationship that's breaking you emotionally, physically, financially, or spiritually, know this: you don't have to stay. Financially, of course, it could be any reason for, as long as it's not financial abuse, we know that. You don't have to stay. You're not alone. There are people who believe you, will stand with you, and want you to be safe. So what to do during an emergency? If you're in immediate danger, dial 999 if you're in the UK, and press 55 when prompted for emergency assistance. When you can't speak, dial 999 and press 55. And on that note, my final take will be, if you found this video meaningful, Don't forget to like, comment, and share it. You never know who might need to hear these words today. And if you're looking for help, all the essential helplines will be in the comment section, and resources are right below in this video as well. You see the helplines and resources right below this video. Just scroll down. You're not alone, and help is just a click away. And over to our guest. If you have anything to contribute before we round up, please, you have 30 seconds to go.
If you are in an abusive relationship, don't be afraid to leave. Don't be scared of being alone. Yeah, leave. L-E-A-V-E, to leave. L-I-V-E. Leave so that you can be alive. God bless you.
And Nikita, your final takeaway?
I would say there's lots of support out there. You're not alone. Lots of other people are going through something similar. It's not the first, it won't be the last. Reach out to like-minded people. Reach out to community joints, programs that can support in this area. And, tell a friend, have somebody that you can speak to who may now be able to help you further. Don't suffer in silence. Don't suffer alone. And definitely escape, because your life is at risk. Thank you.
So, Bere?
Obviously, my last take on this would be that men are humans too. We have emotion. We are also vulnerable. And we should start by teaching our male sons that expressing emotion is human and humanity is beautiful. Thank you.
Fantastic. And please, to our viewers, share this video with someone who might need it. Together, we can raise awareness and make a real difference. Thank you for watching. And remember, there's always support when you're ready to reach out. And I'll pass you on to Cece, my co-host, who will bring this talk to a close. Cece, over to you.
I will say thank everyone. I say thank you for your contributions. And also to say life is very precious. There is help. You only have one life. So, yes, there's help for everyone. There's help, and we're here to help, and everyone's here to help. There's support. Never be afraid.
Yes. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in our next video. Thank you, and bye.